Hi, I'm MJ Beasy,
I'm Catrina Taylor.
and we're here with two cats writing. Today, we're actually three cats writing at this particular moment because Ember Cat is right here with us. So we're starting off right off the bat as three cats writing. Oh, there she goes. And welcome back. And we are here today to talk about capitalizing on your strengths as a writer. Now, this was my idea for a topic, and I think Catrina is a little bit like, "What are you talking about, MJ? What are you trying to get at here, MJ?" So I'm gonna try to get some answers out of her during this podcast. But just to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about here, we're always hearing that we need to shore up our weaknesses, right? Like, I would say in any artistic field, and maybe in any field at all, but since artistic fields are the ones that I have been involved with throughout all of my careers so far, there's always a lot of talk about like making sure that you're always working on your craft, making sure that you're always working to improve, and particularly improve the areas where you feel like you're the weakest, and really, shore up your weaknesses. But I feel like we don't talk enough about making the most of your strengths. And that's something that I learned to do when I was doing musical theater for a living, where, you go into an audition and you don't bring with you, like, the first thing you sing, the first thing that you do is not going to be the thing that you have maybe worked the hardest at but aren't the best at. It's going to be the thing where you know that you can be one of the like top 10 people with this thing that they saw today. Like, so when I was doing acting, I knew I was a really excellent singer. I knew I had like a beautiful high soprano voice, and that I could guarantee I would be one of the best singers they heard that day if I sang the stuff that I was best at. So you come in, you bring your best, because while you want to be like at the very least competent and hopefully good and getting better at all the other aspects that go along with, whatever the career is you're doing, the thing that's going to really make your career, the thing that's going to have people coming back to you again and again, the thing that people are going to remember is that thing where you really just shine. And I hadn't necessarily applied that to writing so much initially, even though I knew there were things that I felt really good at, that came really naturally to me, that I felt were the best parts of my work. And I knew things that I struggled with and that I always had to work a little harder at, and that I had to put more time into developing and being better at. But I still had never really thought about it the same way that I used to think about, going to an audition as an actor or something. And the thing that changed for me was one note in my very first edit letter from my first agent on the book that would become I Was a Teenage Death God, which is like, I knew that dialogue is like one of the best things I do. I write dialogue really easily. I don't know if it's because I was an actor for such a long time, and so I read a lot of plays, and I knew a lot of plays, and I did a lot of reading of dialogue and participating in dialogue. But that's definitely my strength. It comes really easily to me. I can write like pages and pages of dialogue without breaking a sweat. And then when it gets down to more things like descriptive prose or sometimes inner monologue, it's a little harder. So there was a scene where she gave me the note, like, could this be dialogue? It's not that the scene is bad, but you write dialogue so well. I feel like this would be better if it was dialogue. And so I looked at the scene and I was like, oh, could this be a conversation instead? Yeah, it could be. And so I rewrote the scene with the part that had been like, inner monologue from my first person MC. I rewrote it as a scene with dialogue, and boom, like I saw how much better the scene was, like just immediately. And ever since then, not only have I started to apply that, like every time I'm looking at a scene, especially if it's a scene where I feel like there's a little something missing, one of the first thoughts I'll have is like, is there something here that could be dialogue instead? But I also have learned, have like started thinking about that with other aspects of my work too. Like, I'm really good at this, I'm slightly weaker at this. How can I capitalize on that thing I'm really good at and put more of that on the page to help keep the reader hooked, to help keep them wanting to turn to the next page every time? And because I feel like those are the things, similarly to when I was acting, those are the things that are going to make my career. That's the thing that's going to get me, that's going to sell more books, like to publishers over and over, is this thing that I'm good at. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I brought this up to Catrina, and she's been quiet so far because I've been rambling on and on. But I'm like, Catrina, do you do this? Like, is this a thing you think about? And she was like, not really. So I'm gonna put her on the spot a little bit in this podcast and ask her. So Catrina, I have some more examples of things I'm good at and things that I'm weaker at, and how I might capitalize on the thing that I'm strongest at to make a manuscript stronger. But I want to get your wheels turning a little bit in your head by asking, Catrina, what are the things you think you're best at as a writer? What really makes your books come alive on the page the most?
My characters are whole characters. They have a life before they've walked on the page. They have a life when they walk off the page. And it doesn't matter whether it's the janitor in the corner you've had one conversation with, or the main character that is guiding the entire story. They all have and are whole. And that's something that I take a lot of personal pride in. I didn't set out to do that with a conscientious intent in every book, but I do make it a point that if you stop me and ask me about the housekeeper on page 38, I probably have an entire story around it. There's not they're not just a random throwaway character, as they have no existence in the universe they're living in. So that's one thing. Besides that, dialogue is a strong point for me as well. It's also one of those things I'm comfortable with. I use that a lot more when it comes to exposition. I'm not a fan of info dumps. I don't know too many people that are. So I like it. I tend to convey important information better through dialogue.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think that the information can often be conveyed the best that way.
It feels a little bit more connecting to the reader to me, because you could be talking to the reader as in flow state as it's coming out kind of thing, as opposed to just the other character in the room.
I think that is especially true. I'm thinking through this on the spot, so I might decide I'm wrong like halfway through it, but I was thinking that's especially true, I think, when you're writing in third person, where the POV isn't maybe as tight and isn't as, like, my main character, because of the books that I've been writing so far. The first one that I wrote wasn't like this, but the one that I sold, the ones I've sold and the ones I'm hoping to sell are all in first person. You're kind of always talking to the reader directly because they're in first person.
And I usually write in third. So
yeah, and writing, and they're a little bit different animals, though. I think not as different as people think. Especially if you're using like a third person limited that's a fairly tight POV. So are there ways that you think that you, without thinking about it, have put more of that stuff, like, so your characters all have like really strong backstories, and like even just like the janitor or whoever, like someone's around. Are there ways that you think that you're like putting that on the page more deliberately, even if that you're doing, you haven't really thought about it, but that you are somehow deliberately doing that? Do you feel that at all?
Like I said before we started, I haven't really given it much thought about how deliberate I am about it. I know I will, when I'm not sure how to deliver something or how to put it on the page in descriptive terms so that I'm showing it, I will often default to dialogue, into conversation, and into something that's more of an engaging setting. But I have not given it enough thought as to how intentional I am. I do find my characters will sometimes... I generally work with very large casts. Those who read my books know that I write in series, as we've discussed in the podcast. And so my casts tend to be large and diverse. And so while Jack over on the left might know Jane in engineering, Janet over here on the bridge doesn't know Jane. And so Jack might say, well, Jane's kids did XYZ. And so that kind of brings this off-scene character that now has a minor thing to do with whatever setting or situation onto the page in a more complete way.
But yeah, so you're able to like bring those details there, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's part of an important way of connecting with the reader, is that they're able to look at... When you and I have a conversation, we will sometimes talk about people the other hasn't met. But it's no doubt in the way we talk that these other people are whole people. They're not... I realize sometimes you can make somebody a two-dimensional plot point in a conversation, but it's not usually how we talk.
Yeah, well, right. I think it only happens when we don't know the person we're talking about very well, and they are two-dimensional to us in some way. Like, we only know them as like blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Like, we only know them as the person who cut in front of me in the line, at the whatever,
Exactly. And that's what I try. I do bring that out in my stories, that kind of thing. There are whole families that are involved in a conversation, even if you never meet them on the page. I've been told you get a feel for parents that never step into the spotlight, in my words, from my stories, which I get such a kick out of people being able to tell me that they're like, oh yes, so-and-so's mom's such and such. And I'm like, so-and-so's mom has not even introduced herself to you yet.
But it's already parent. It's already there.
Exactly.
It's already there on the page, actually, even if the person hasn't appeared. So yeah, I think that is exactly the type of thing that I'm talking about, is like you bringing your strengths onto the page. I have a couple of other examples I can bring up, and I'm bringing these up as so for our listeners, especially if you're just starting out, or like at the beginning of your career. These are things that maybe you can think about more, especially if, and maybe you can think about these things when you are, revising your first 5 or 10 pages for querying, or whatever you're doing, trying to like really make something just really pop off the page and really catch someone's attention. And then so like something like, for instance, I'm strong. I'm good at voice. I'm good at having very distinct voice for each of the characters in my story. I am absolutely garbage at physical descriptions of characters. I'm no matter, and I work at it. I try to get better. I have a friend who's an artist who has done a lot of character art for me, who is always asking me, like, so what is this character wearing? What is this? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, and it seems like to me, it's like a thing that I would just never think about, because the reason why I'm not good at it about details about people's clothing and details in their appearance is because, like, the brutal fact is, like, I just kind of don't care. Like, I don't care about that, like, in life. I kind of don't care that much about the details of what people look like at all, or what kind of clothes they would wear. If you guys saw me, you would understand, like, there are certain details that are important to me, like my hair. But otherwise, this is funny because this is in completely different context. Came up in a conversation with Catrina before we started. I don't care about my clothes. Like, I would wear pajamas all the time if it was socially acceptable to do so. Like, I would never, like, I kind of don't care about those things very much. So I know that I'm bad at writing really clear physical descriptions of characters that people can, like, conjure up in their head. So what I try to do to make up with this, I try to, like, pick a few visual elements for each character that can be just kind of like broad strokes for, like, like painting like a very basic picture of what they look like. And then I try to make up for it with voice, because that's the thing that I'm really good at. I'm really good at giving them, making them distinct and feeling individual through their voices. So that's what I try to do. Like, so I'm trying to, like, use the thing that I'm really strong at to kind of help deal with the thing that I'm less strong at. And, that's going to resonate for some readers more than others. There's some readers who are always going to be like, I wish that this author described the characters more vividly in a visual way, like, because they like that, and it's important to them. But I don't think I'm ever gonna. I don't think I'm ever gonna be that writer. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, as far as physical descriptions go, when a character walks onto the page, because I think visually, I know exactly what they look like.
It's weird because I think visually too, but not details like that.
Which I find so amusing and interesting. And, you and I have a lot of things that we have in common. We have a lot of things we most definitely do not have in common. And this being one of them, I always find interesting, because we do think visually, but the way we're thinking visually differs.
It's still different, yeah.
And that's actually kind of affects the way I write my stories, because they come onto my page in my, like, I see the scene, I see what's going on. If my character is about to get into a brawl, I see that. If my character is about to do something, some grand gesture of whatever, I see that. I see what they're wearing. I see their facial expressions. As I've learned to write tighter, cleaner prose, I find when I am creating facial expressions, for example, I am trying to find a way to express it with actual physical descriptions of what does it look like with a scrunched eyebrow. It's not, you don't say they scrunched their eyebrows. You say they pinched their eyebrows together, because it's more accurate to what the visual looks like. The brain is going to register it as scrunched, but when you're looking at it and trying to explain how a scrunch looks, it's a pinched eyebrow. It's when somebody's pensive, you're not just going to, I don't just say they're pensive. I talk about how they push their lips into a thin line and their eyes are kind of half closed and they're very focused on something usually, or that they're, depending on the character, staring at a point further out away from the actual environment. And that is one of those character point, like you were talking about voices, that just comes along with their individual personalities and how they do it, but you will still see it as pensive because of that person being who they are.
Right.
So yeah, that's why you have descriptions of, I have a, and if I were to break down my first crew, if you will, I have a very tiny little, we're going to use, forgive me for not having better descriptions at the moment. We're going to use kind of sort of stereotype here. We have a tiny little icy Hispanic woman that leads the charge. But then contrast, we have, a bunch of, I would, people that walk on from, I know the way they look. One is very tall. He's an African American gentleman and one of her best friends. And there is another woman about his height, but would be an Asian American, I guess. But it's very hard because when I look at people in life, I don't sit here and register these things. But when I see them on the page and I want people to see what I see, I then have to find a way to express the things that I'm registering in their appearance.
There are really basic things about people's appearance that I certainly know when they come on, and I also I also see the scene and see like all their facial expressions and things, and hear all the pauses and all the inflections in their voice when they're talking. The things that I don't have, like those kinds of details, yes, but I don't know what they're wearing. I don't. They're very they're very expressive, but they don't necessarily have super detailed. Like I have to really think about it if I'm trying to figure out like what hairstyle they have or what clothes they're wearing, exactly how tall they are. Those aren't necessarily the things that come to mind for me immediately. I know how their mouths move when they talk. I know how their eyes work. I know like the ways their faces move, and those things I envision. But when it comes to like details of their actual appearance, it can be like very vague in my head if I haven't made a decision ahead of time about them. So like I have to spend a lot of time doing that. It doesn't just come naturally to me. And then I often don't describe them very much. I get like I said, except for like some kind of broad strokes that can be used. Like people will know a very like basic version of their appearance if they read it. And sometimes I will get into details of clothing, but that's because I've felt I had to, and it was a lot of work to get there. So I do try to make up for it with voice, and part of their vocal expression, part of their expression in that way is like their facial expressions and things. Those are definitely descriptions of the way that they move or look, or when they speak, are very much part of that. So yeah, it's interesting where the details are. Like
I find clothing can be really expressive of a setting. Like I have a character.
Oh, sure.
Who, when you meet her for the first time, and I love this character for so many reasons, but when you meet her for the first time, she's just at a party. She's wearing the slinkiest, skimpiest, not really skimpy, but very slinky, very, very fitted outfit. And she projects that feeling onto the page. I am so impressed that she does it. And yes, I say she does it. I'm just recording what she told me to record. Um,
Uh,
but her seeing what she's wearing there versus what she changes into midair as she jumps out of a window later, um, becomes a plot point. It becomes a part of the story. It's not just. So I guess maybe that's part of why the details are so clear. Those specific details
mhm.
are so clear to me because I find that is a factor. If they walk in a uniform, I know they're part of some organization. If they walk in, and I feel like that's that helps to convey to a character to the reader what we're dealing with.
Oh, and certainly sometimes the clothing, like specifics like that, are like important to the plot. And those are things that I will also definitely write in. The kinds of details I'm talking about that I don't ever do or like rarely do. Like I'll be writing characters and to me they're like detailed enough, but then this friend who's an artist will be like wanting to draw this character and will ask me like specifically exactly like for pictures, for like references, like of their hairstyle, for references for their exact outfit, for like what kind of shoes are they wearing. And a lot, like most of the time, that's just not information that I have at my fingertips. Like I would have to go and think. Like sometimes I'll try to give her an answer, but I have to actually go and think about it because it's not something that I cared about while I was writing. If it wasn't one of those things where it's important to the plot, where it's like, like important to the scene and to understanding the scene and to understanding the character in the scene, I probably didn't think about it because I don't, and I don't. It's not the kind of detail I latch onto as a reader either, like in other people's work. So like that's a weakness that I would like try to like get back here to the topic a little bit. That's a weakness that I would try to make up for with something that's a strength. And then a different type of example that I think that this is just something I've learned to do because I'm not a super fast drafter. I always like things come out slowly for me on the page because I can't stop the editor on the way out. I'm not one of those people who can just like spill on the page. I'd love to be, but I'm not. I'm really good at coming up with complex magic systems that feel like kind of unique, magical elements, some like world building elements that might be a little unique. You know what I'm terrible at? Naming them or anything. I hate naming things. I hate naming people. I hate naming like magic. I hate naming anything. I hate naming. I'm bad at it. It takes me so long. The hours I spend like researching and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about a name for something, like that can shut down my draft for days. So this is less of a putting your strength on the page thing and more putting your strength, like shoving your weakness aside to make room for your strength, to get your draft written. I will put in placeholders. I have learned if I don't have a name for something right away, I just put I put little brackets and some kind of placeholder that can be consistent throughout for whatever that thing is. And then I can go back and do find and replace later when I come up with a name. And that can cut down like a scene that would take, if there's a whole bunch of new things to be named in it, that could take like 3 weeks to write. Like maybe I can write it in a day because I put placeholders in for all the names. That's how much naming holds me up, or potentially holds me up. So that's more of a like let your strength be alive, so by shoving your weakness in a corner temporarily kind of situation. But just in case you're listening to this and you are thinking, I too have trouble thinking of names for things, and it can take me days and days to come up with one that I like. And you have not given yourself permission to just put like some kind of silly name with brackets around it in there in your draft as a placeholder until you think of it. I'm giving you that permission right now. Like, just do it. I know it's going to look silly there until you fix it, but it's fine.
Finding your place is powerful. Use it. It's okay.
There was a story that I was writing. I'm trying to think. I think I had a character that was just named, like, oh, I can't. It was something so silly and like kind of funny, and I wish I could think of it now. Like, this character had the most ridiculous name for the entire time I was writing the story, until I finally came up with an actual, like, respectable, proper name for them. But there's a draft that exists somewhere where their name is, you know, somewhere along the lines of, like, you know, Jockerson. But and so yeah, if this is you, you guys, I'm giving you permission to just like put in a placeholder and move on. And I've had to learn how to do that. Do you have anything like that you do, Catrina?
I tend to, I write out of order. Mm-hmm. Because I think of the story and, you know, kind of like following a movie thing, except that the movie might be played out of order kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I will, and I actually had to have somebody give me permission to not write in order for a while because I couldn't figure out how to connect 2 points at one time. And a more experienced author says, you know, you don't have to do that. And I went, oh. I can go back without breaking the flow. Now that makes sense. And yeah, so I do put brackets in where I don't see the scene right then. Mm-hmm. Then I will just kind of put in a bracket and kind of put in a description of what I want there. So like if I need Janet and Paul to have a conversation over coffee about laser tag, then that's what I'll write. I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't know what Janet and Paul are going to talk about yet, but like I'll do that as far as the story goes. This way, when I get back to it, I'm better prepared for it and I've had time to think about it. And usually I think the story comes out better. The conversation, if that's what it is, or the scene comes out better because I have a better clue what's going on either side and what the connecting fibers need to be. Mm-hmm. So
that makes a lot of sense.
That's one of the things that I find is helpful. And I guess in a way it became one of my strengths towards finishing my story. Because otherwise I would have been stuck not completing what I was trying to do. I would have just been attempting to do exactly the same thing right to the point where I couldn't see anything anymore and then just freeze. And then I, you know, not finish the other stuff that I had in mind, or worse, lose it before I had a chance to come back to write it down because I didn't get there. So,
I do the same thing with I write in order, but I do often put in placeholders for areas where, because one of my weaknesses is writing descriptive prose. Even though I actually imagine out places in more detail than I imagine out people, like in terms of the details in the landscape or room or wherever. I imagine that out pretty in pretty detailed, pretty heavy detail. but I often have difficulty describing it, like finding the words that I want to use to describe the place. I struggle with descriptive prose in that way. And sometimes, a section of descriptive prose will end up being a part of my manuscript that I am the most proud of. Like it'll end up being something good, but it will have taken me longer to get there. Like it will be like kind of a hard won paragraph or section. And if that's holding me up in my draft, I will allow myself to just like put in, like, again, little brackets saying, here's what's going to be here, so I can move on. I'll write whole scenes full of just dialogue so that I can move on without any of the rest of the prose. And I think we talked about that a little bit on like getting to the end when we were talking about like getting to the end of your story, like what can get you to the end. But yeah, I've done that same sort of thing, even though I do write in order. And then when I go back, it is easier to fill in those blanks. So viewers, podcast enjoyers, are there things that you think are your greatest strengths as writers? And do you think about, or would you think about, deliberately working on like putting more of that on the page than anything else? Do you ever think about doing that to make your manuscript as a whole like just feel more alive and be your strongest work? If so, tell us in the comments. We would love to hear about it. We'd love to hear about your journeys. And if you have any questions for us, obviously leave those there too. And I don't know, this is a thing that I'm often thinking about, is just putting your best foot forward. Like always, like making the most of what you do the best. Because that's the thing that's going to make you stand out more than anybody else.
Absolutely. And that's kind of funny because I realize we haven't said much about it in this podcast, but I brought it up in others. This is actually why I do different challenges. I'll find something that I feel like I'm weak at, and I challenge myself to improve through one method or another. And I realize it's more like a symbiotic thing if you think about it, the being aware of the things you already do and then also improving upon the things that you need to do that you need to bring up to what you already do well. It becomes quite, if both are kept present in mind, I could see where it would become quite an active, positive way of smoothing out your writing and improving your skills in the long run.
So let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time on Two Cats Writing.
Forget to subscribe.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button, you guys.
Bye. See you guys next time. Bye.